set. I can't stop hustling every minute, every second. Can't stop.
Asuka makes history at the Elimination Chamber. A new IWGP Women's Champion crown, and WWE looks to sign a major AEW talent. All this and more on this episode of Shot of Brew. What's going on, party people? This is your bro, Yellow Boy, and this is Bros, Brews, and Botches, and bringing you another brand new episode of Shot of Brew. It's a shot of wrestling news taken from the previous week. And before we move forward, remember you guys to like, share, and subscribe so that you know when the bros are going to bring you brand new content to the people. You people. But without further ado, let's get to the news. Asuka earns an incredible achievement at this year's Elimination Chamber match. So depending when this goes out, which probably later than it usually is, the Elimination Chamber was this past weekend, and spoiler alert if you didn't know already, Asuka is this year's winner for the Elimination Chamber, and she will be facing Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Now, with this year's Chamber win, Asuka has become the first women's wrestler in WWE to have won the Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, and Elimination Chamber. Now, only John Cena, Randy Orton, Edge, and Brock Lesnar have accomplished that feat. Now, Asuka, donning her more evil persona, the Kana persona, if you will, defeated Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nikki Cross, Natalya, and Carmella to earn her chance at Bianca. Now, as we've discussed on the live Chamber post show, if you watched, Asuka became champion during the pandemic era, so it will be great to see her get her moment in the spotlight with actual fans. But we're going to have to see what happens at Mania. But from a potential champ being crowned to an actual championship coronation, in addition to WWE's Elimination Chamber on February 18th, New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong had its Battle in the Valley event. Now, in the co-main event, we seen Mercedes Moné, formerly Sasha Banks, take on Kairi, formerly Kairi Sane, for the IWGP Women's Championship. Now, in a really fun match, which we seen a Bayley to Belly at one point, and then a successful moneymaker hit, Moné became the new IWGP Women's Champion. Now, prior to her match, Moné posted on her YouTube channel, the Mercedes Renando channel, which during the time frame of that video, there was one point where she had made a statement about how she felt with her departure from WWE. In the video, she stated, quote, "This whole time that I've been gone from WWE, I've been really struggling with what's next. What I'm going to do in wrestling. Who am I? I've been a character for like 10 years in that company, so it felt like such a death. It's just been such a long journey trying to figure out who I am after the WWE, and now it's finally coming together." End quote. And I agree, it has finally come together because now she is the new IWGP Women's Champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So want to send out a big congratulations to Mercedes Moné as the new champ. But from one IWGP champ to another, rumors starting to circulate about WWE taking a vested interest in one particular AEW star. So again, much speculation has been on someone we're going to talk about later, Jay White, going to WWE. However, good old Uncle Dave Meltzer with the Wrestling Observer has come through and said that WWE has been interested in a much bigger free agent. Well, according to WrestlingNews.co, that much bigger free agent is none other than AEW's Kenny Omega. Now, speculation is that Omega's contract is nearing its end. However, Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful.com stated that Omega could have time added due to his injuries and the time that he needed to recover from those injuries. Now, while Omega has not made comments regarding the speculation, he was recently a guest on the Swerve City podcast. One of the biggest talking points that he did on that show was speaking about the Joshi wrestlers, because he has a real vested interest and he does a lot with the Joshi wrestlers from Japan. And he talked about their experiences with wrestling fans here in the US, and some of the points that he made of the Joshi wrestlers. They've experienced a lot of derogatory statements in person and on social media due to their look or their stature. Omega also commented on the acclamation for the Joshi wrestlers to the American TV style and the challenges with it. He also commented on how stars like Riho have inspired young girls. So if you haven't already, go take a listen if you have the time. It's additionally on YouTube. It's been uploaded on YouTube. So go check out that Swerve City podcast with Swerve Strickland on there, if you will, please. But from one former leader of the Bullet Club to another, we move to the aforementioned Jay White, who at the same Battle in the Valley show competed in a loser leave New Japan Pro Wrestling match against AEW's own Eddie Kingston. Now, there was a small sliver of hope during that match that the Switchblade era in New Japan would continue. However, it was not to be after Eddie Kingston obliterated White with several spinning back fists and 2 Northern Lights drivers, one of which Jay White has kicked out of, and that hasn't been done in quite some time except from one person. Now, the 30-year-old New Zealander received a large thank you chant from the crowd post-match, and he asked for a microphone. However, before he could even start to speak like he did in Japan after his match with Hikuleo, he was hit over the head with a shillelagh from David Finlay. Now, it appears that Finlay will be taking over the role of head Gaijin heel, but where will that leave Jay White? Will he head to AEW or WWE? Do me a favor, post down there in the comments where you think White will show up and give us your fantasy booking on how he should be, whatever promotion you think he should be. Put your fantasy booking hats on and tell me how it should be booked for him to show up in that promotion. But finally, there was a rare CM Punk sighting that was made at that very same Battle in the Valley event in San Jose. Yeah, there's a lot going on at that Battle in the Valley event this weekend. But CM Punk hadn't been seen since the fallout from All Out's Brawl Out. Now, Punk is currently recovering from injury and has been under heavy speculation over his time and how much he has left and whether he's going to return to AEW. And recently he made a post on his social media that kind of referenced that he was more apt to let bygones be bygones. But this past weekend, social media was abuzz as photos of the best in the world were surfacing with him being there at that New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong show. Now, Punk was seen in these photos alongside his long-term friend Lars Fredrickson. He was also there with Impact Wrestling owner Scott D'Amore and Impact's knockout Giselle Shaw. So hopefully we'll know soon what's going to become of Punk in pro wrestling, whether it be AEW or somewhere else. My opinion, AEW could use the ratings to have someone like Punk. I know he's a very polarizing character, but it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit of ratings bump for a good old AEW in their Dynamite and Rampage shows. But that was the news. As always, make sure that you click that like on this video and also make sure that you're commenting on it so that we can appease the almighty algorithm. Also, check out the links in the description below, including our good friends over at Elevated Creation for our merch. And also check out DJ L Spade for more dope music selections like the track that you're hearing in the background. Also, lots of alsos. Stay tuned after this for another Black History Month spotlight. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you very, very much for watching. My apologies for posting this a day late. So normally I post these things, the Shot of Brew, on Sunday, but life happens and sometimes it throws things off schedule. So here it is, Monday, you're getting it, unfortunately, sorry. Hopefully next Sunday we'll keep it right on track with the Shot of Brew on Sunday. But again, if life happens, we have to adjust. That's just what we do. But know that, as always, we love you. Stick around for that Black History Spotlight. And until next time,
keep my money
yeah.
coming in. My commitment to hustle is on point.
Bros, Brews, and Botches celebrates Black History Month. Sailor Art Thomas. Arthur Thomas was born January 30th, 1924, in Gurdon, Arkansas. He was the son of Alfred and Jessie Thomas. While he was born in Arkansas, he and his family moved to Madison, Wisconsin in 1935. After his mother's death, it was reported that he was raised in a Sparta orphanage in Wisconsin. Thomas served his country in the United States Merchant Marine for 27 months. While there, he served in a construction battalion. He also helped to build an airship in Guam. After leaving the Merchant Marines, Thomas did work for the Greyhound bus lines and developed an interest in bodybuilding. Thomas toured the United States with other bodybuilders. While doing this, Thomas was spotted by promoter Jimmy Demetrio. Thomas then trained as a professional wrestler, making his debut in 1943. During his early wrestling career, Thomas was usually introduced as a just discharged Navy seaman, as he wore regulation crackerjack uniform and peacoat. He would also enter the ring as a plant to oppose the villain's dishonorable tactics. Thomas, through the early 1960s, won a series of tag team championships, including the Worldwide Wrestling Associates International Television Tag Team Championship with Luthez in California, the Maple Leaf Wrestling NWA International Tag Team Championships with John Paul Henning in Toronto, and the NWA Detroit World Tag Team Championship with Bobo Brazil in Detroit, just to name a few. Thomas also competed for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation from 1963 to 1964, teaming with the likes of Bobo Brazil and Bruno Sammartino. Thomas was one of few black pro wrestling stars between the 1950s and the 1970s. He also had the opportunity to wrestle for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, including 11 challenges against the Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. Thomas continued to wrestle until his retirement in 1981. Thomas was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2016. Thomas passed away on March 20th, 2003, due to cancer, only a month after being diagnosed. He was surpassed by his 7 children. Thomas is an unsung hero of great accomplishments from pro wrestlers of color in the early 1960s and 70s. Not known as being a master in the ring by his peers, Thomas was a fan favorite wherever he went. It is because of this, the men of Bros, Brews, and Botches want to recognize Sailor Art Thomas for this week's Black History Month Spotlight.